How's it going, guys? This is DexHowl, and the new year is finally here, and with it, we have a ton of new games to come. But for now, we'll stick with what we know: The Division. In year 2, we saw many ups and downs for The Division. It was not a pretty sight, but let's start from the beginning. 1.6 was released early, I believe, March, February, something like that. But anyways, what 1.6 showed us is that it is possible to create a less than mindless dark zone. We were given a clear objective with the release of leaderboards, contaminated events, a larger map, and even the last stand game mode. Yes, that does count as part of the dark zone. Technically it does, because it's PvP and they're using the same maps, just with a little bit of a twist with the terminals, of course. Though Last Stand did come off to a rough start, and that update as a whole did require a little bit of tweaking. This era itself is what I like to call the Age of Flame. At this stage in the game, the cluster seeker mines were stripped of their stagger ability. Predator's bleed was reduced from a killing machine to a mild annoyance, and a first attempt was made at reducing the accuracy of hipfire. So there were a lot of changes being made to the game all at the same time. Now, we did see a spike in the use of sniper rifles and shotguns at this point. Mostly we saw the SVD being used a lot with Deadeye in the Last Stand game mode and outside of it as well, but other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of other diversity there. These changes prompted a shift that would dominate the entire game for a very, very long time to come, up until the following patch. Now, the shift that I'm referring to is the use of flame turrets and airburst seeker mines across all aspects of the game. Last Stand, Dark Zone, and even PvE, fire was 100% the king of 1.6. Then came 1.7. 1.7 will be forever infamous in my book. This is the patch that brought us the first global event, classified gear sets, and a bunch of useless bragging rights style vanity crap, including masks, commendations, patches, and for the record, honestly, I want to say that rewards that don't affect your stats aren't actually rewards. But then also in this update, there was the destruction of Tactician's Authority. Now, Tactician's Authority is a set that is primarily used for electronic style sets. Now, electronic style sets are notorious for not having a lot of firearms. You're not allowed to have a bunch of firearms when you want to use skills. And you have to have a bunch of stamina because you can't actually deal as much damage. You want to stay alive as long as possible so you're able to support your team. Now, the main source of damage output for Tactician's Authority was the Seeker Mine. Airburst was cut by 60% of its original damage, and the explosion damage was cut by 33%. This patch also attempted to reduce the power of weapons to make them more balanced, taking aim at those same ones that I mentioned before, the SVD, sniper rifles and shotguns that we used so much in 1.6. That was a large part of the update, and then eventually we got to 1.7.1 where they had to tweak it a little bit more just to fine-tune a couple of things. Though this, again, like I said, is going to be the most infamous update in my opinion, just because it was so controversial, and I even made a video about Massive destroying the entire playstyle of electronics builds or skill builds in general. In terms of output of damage. You guys can go and back and watch that video later if you want, but you don't have to. It's fine. Fast forward to today, and just maybe like a few months ago, technically, we have year 3 slowly rolling up on us, and 1.8 that just came through pushed a lot of players to the limit with its new challenges. There's a lot of different content. It's a humongous update. It's probably the biggest update since the actual game's spawning. I don't know what do you call that, but 1.8 brought back a lot of the game's original player base. So from the very beginning, there were lots of people that were excited for this game, and then it launched and it was like, what happened? So now we have a lot of people coming back to the game that are re-interested in all of these things, and this patch even resurrected some of the game's long dead alternative activities. Like, for example, Underground was given new life with the addition of hunters and decent rewards. Classified gear and new exotics motivated players to run legendary missions on repeat at that. Like, they would continuously just run them over and over again, and you have no trouble pretty much getting a group as long as you don't repeatedly die and get kicked out, because people do that. The grind for this gear even actually got me to the point where I completed a weekly assignment just for the chance of receiving classified or exotic gear. And if you have ever played with me, you know that I never have the patience to go through 10 missions collecting electronics or whatever the thing is for that week, and you are just going through so much agony through that weekly assignment. It's insane. But for me to actually go through all that, I know that it was really tough. It was really tough. I assure you of that. And of course, the gear I received was all non-classified garbage and old exotics that I already had. But still, it was a good motivator. It got me to do it multiple times. So I started completing weekly assignments, and I'm still doing it now to this point. So going forward, we still have Global Event 4 to deal with. But let's talk about Strike, which is the third global event that just passed. Strike introduced classified Nomad, Defense, Predator, and Banshee. I was able to get my hands on a set of Banshee full 6-piece, but none of the other sets really decided to drop full sets for me. I guess like my RNG is not that great. I don't really know for my character. It just seems to not really want to give me anything. Though I did actually complete a couple of sets that I had already started from previous GEs, which were Deadeye and Lone Star. Those I've been using pretty decently. Deadeye I don't use very much, but Lone Star with my big Alejandro has been great for PvE. While it's possible to use Lone Star classified with the Big Alejandro in PvP, I wouldn't recommend it unless you plan to spec a lot of your mods and a lot of your character into stability. If you're going to do that, that's great. If you want to do PvE with your Lone Star set, then you're going to want to use crits. And it's a humongous trade-off. Really, it is, as far as damage output. But you are not going to actually hit anything if you don't spec into stability for PvP usage. As of right now, the Lone Star set that I have classified is actually the go-to set for everything that I have. It's been that way since I built it, and it's not even fully optimized yet. I'm sure we'll get there sooner or later, but for now, we will stick with what we have. We also have the addition of a few things. Our Westside Pier area, which gives us a gigantic horde of enemies to fight throughout various different open world locations. And we also have our Resistance, which is a wave-based horde mode that is a little different in the sense that it's actually a game mode and it's not open world. You have to follow a specific path and you have to collect shade tech and move on and progress in stages versus just fighting endless waves of enemies and having them spawn in specific areas based on your location in game. Now, we also did get the addition of a truly instanced team deathmatch style PvP in the form of the game mode Skirmish. Now, this is the alternative to the Dark Zone that everybody had been asking for the longest, and it's finally came in 1.8, which is nice. To be honest though, I have not even actually heard of anyone playing this at all, which seems a little strange because you would have thought like a lot of people were asking for it a long time ago, and when it's finally here, no one mentions it anymore. Now, Resistance, I've played plenty of, just like I figured I would back in the PCS. It's a lot of fun when you have a regular group to play with. However, Skirmish, I have yet to even touch, so I won't have as much insight that I can really provide there. And that's pretty much all I had for you guys. I hope you all enjoyed this brief step through time for the rewind of year 2 for The Division. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. We will continue to cover The Division for a little while longer. I'm sure we're going to get more content. I don't know if they're going to do 1.9 yet. We're going to find out though. I know we're definitely going to be covering the GE ambush. GE4 is what that's going to be. I believe what it does is it actually drains your health while you move, so it gives you a damage bonus if you stay still. So that's going to be kind of interesting. It's going to be fun to try to kind of deal with that and see what challenges it presents. But anyways guys, don't forget to stay rogue, and we'll see you guys next time.